Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman, bringing you the weather here on your Saturday, November 23rd, 2024. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're tracking here for today. We're going to give you an update on any potential travel delays. Obviously, we're talking by the road and by air as well across the country as we're getting ready to head into the busiest travel week of the year, that's for sure. We're going to be tracking a bit of a Thanksgiving Day storm, looks like potentially across the southeast and getting into the mid-Atlantic. We'll talk about the specifics on that. And then we're also tracking a December chill. Looks like as we head wrapping up the month of November after Thanksgiving and going to December, we're going to have some pretty good Arctic air moving into the country. Now, before we get into this, first, I do want to personally thank the new subscribers to the channel. And if you're that 60% out there who have not yet subscribed, what you waiting for? This is a free service and this is for you. Please subscribe on that, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you'll alert on future content. And if you like what you see, please leave a comment, give me a thumbs up. It does help with the almighty YouTube algorithm. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're tracking here for today. Obviously, we're saying goodbye to this. Low pressure has been kind of taking its time to clear the country. This is the system that dumped the snows in areas of Pennsylvania, especially, and down through the Appalachians. It's going to be moving on out. Little weak system up here in the high plains, seeing the moisture here finally moving inland here across the Intermountain region with the lower elevation rains, higher elevation snows, obviously, and they've been getting pounding, of course, out there on the west coast. Here's where our current watches and warnings are. We got some freeze warnings down here across the southeast, very cold warning down here. Some of the first freezes down there in Mississippi and in Alabama. Seeing some winter weather out here west. Winter storm warnings obviously still here in California. Winter weather advisories here in the purple across portions of Utah, Colorado, and heading up toward Montana. So not looking too bad, but at least still getting some snows out there for the skiers for this time of year. All right, we're going to talk about airport delays. Nothing out there for this morning, and I think a lot of airports are looking pretty good for this week. The only one I'm worried about is areas across the southeast that could see some potential delays maybe going into Thanksgiving Day. Now, here's a live look at Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. It's gorgeous. It's clear skies. No problems out there today. So if you're flying out of the world's busiest airport, that's definitely not going to be a problem for you for today or tomorrow for that matter. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the current service map here again, as we're pretty quiet across most of the country. We're seeing the jet stream kind of go to a more flat flow across the country. It means it's going to be kind of zonal here. So we're going to say goodbye to that storm system. We're a little bit unsettled here out into the west, but really not looking too bad. Still seeing the snows and the rains out here across California. And California, at least this radar looks a whole lot better than it did yesterday, that's for sure. Still got the rains for the interior from Fresno. Heading up there just to the east of Sacramento. Santa Rosa getting some light rains right now, but boy, they've really gotten pounded. Here's a little video of some of the flooding problems they've had out there into that part of the country. And now that the things are starting to shut off, the atmospheric river shutting off, those river levels and those flooding conditions should begin to abate a little bit as we go through the next several days. Let's look at the Storms Prediction Center. Let's see what we're going to be looking at as far as any kind of thunderstorm activity here expected over the next several days. So here's the day one outlook here from the Storms Prediction Center. And again, just a general thunderstorm threat for many folks out here in the west. So we're not looking too bad. We're talking about in this zone in here, just seeing that green color. I mean, it's just maybe rumble thunder, maybe some brief heavy rain, but really not looking that bad. How about day two? How is day two looking for us? Let's check out day two. Day two right now is not showing anything. In fact, no organized thunderstorms for day two for your Sunday. But as we go into day three, we're going to be talking about the southeast. We're talking about areas down here into getting toward Mississippi and getting down and toward areas of Louisiana, maybe East Texas, maybe seeing a rumble of thunder as another cold front will be kind of sweeping through there. Not overly aggressive for this one, but maybe a rumble of thunder could not be ruled out for that heading into your Monday. Now, what about the excessive rainfall? That's been a big deal here over the last week or so, really, especially out in California. And yes, we are seeing some of that interior heavy rains there across portions of California. But this is really not going to be that bad, folks. As we go ahead and take a look at again, the day two and the day three outlook here for that, it's not going to be that bad. It really isn't. So as we look at your day two outlook going into your Sunday, again, still looking at Northern California. It'll pick up just a little bit there across Oregon. And then going into your day three, again, same general area, still holding it on in the west coast. The rest of the country, though, staying quiet. Don't have to worry about any heavy rain threats there. Now, as far as what is the climate outlook saying here, looking for the hazard outlook, I should say, going for days 3 through 7. Again, we are looking at the southeast. Again, we're talking about the potential for some of that rain getting here across the mid-Atlantic and getting into the southeast. So that's why I was talking about Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson potentially being a problem. This is just kind of showing some of the colder conditions here across Utah and Colorado. And again, of course, that heavy rain threats here across the west. That's what the hazards right now is tracking here for potential problems here for the next 3 to 7 days. Now, as far as what the models are showing here, let's talk about the models. This here is your short-term model. We're looking at the high resolution model going out for the next 42 hours here. And what we're going to be watching here closely is obviously we're talking about the West Coast storm. Okay, so the West Coast storm is continuing to come in out here. We're going to say goodbye to this storm out here. So this one's starting to exit, and that one's coming in here on the West Coast. So let's go ahead and take this through here for the next day and a half or so here as we kind of watch what goes on. Say goodbye to that system in the Northeast. It's going bye-bye. And relatively quiet across most of the country. Still got that onshore flow there. Still, as you look here, looking late afternoon on Sunday, so the rain's kind of picking up just a little bit here across the West Coast from Oregon, heading on down toward California, even getting closer to Southern California as well with some of that rainfall out there. But again, that's probably the most active weather you're going to see. Most of the country going into Sunday night is looking pretty quiet. It's a little unsettled out toward the west, but any traveling going out on Sunday, again, not looking bad. Maybe some slight delays out on the West Coast, like maybe San Francisco, for example. But for the most part, really not looking that bad. Let's look at the jet stream. We'll talk about that river of air. That's the jet stream that kind of drives the country across the country. So we're looking for those dips and ridges, man. We're looking for those troughs, which bring you the stormy weather, and the ridges that kind of bring you high pressure and milder weather. So what we're currently seeing across our area is obviously we've got this dip in the jet stream here in the east. That's bringing us to colder temperatures. Here's that storm system that's been kind of pounding the area out the West Coast here for days on end, but that's going to start to change here as we take a look at this and we move this forward here. That begins to move inland. Notice as we go into late in the day on Sunday going into Monday, a fairly zonal flow, which means we got a kind of a west-east flow across the country, not seeing any big dives in the jet stream as it stands on that Monday. So Monday's not looking too bad there, but then we start to see some changes as we go along here. That jet stream starts to take a little more of a dive. We got some energy starting to come down here this way. That's going to cause this jet stream to begin to buckle as we head toward Thanksgiving. So as we go into Wednesday here, we start seeing it start taking that dive as we go into Thursday. So we got one storm system here with this little energy impulse here. Not overly sharp with that change in the jet stream, but it's big enough that we're going to see some of that rain start to spread across the southeast and the mid-Atlantic going in throughout Thanksgiving Day and going into your Friday. But this jet stream really gets pronounced here as we go into the following weekend. Look at this energy kind of dived on down in here as we go in toward December the 2nd. Okay, so this is going to be charging in that cold Arctic air here across the eastern third of the United States. Begin to moderate a little bit out here in the west, obviously, when we get that cold air that comes into the east like that. And as we take this all the way out to the end of its run, we'll see that stays pronounced going into Tuesday. So we'll see moderation in the west, cold definitely into the east for Tuesday and Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're talking December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And then this begins to shift on out toward the east a little bit. Looks like maybe one more dive coming in here, heading toward, say, the 6th of December. And this hits just basically the eastern third of the United States, and then this pushes on out. So we're going to see the cold air begin to moderate as we head toward the first week. That's still tracking on that for right now as we go into December the 7th. So let's go ahead and talk about the precipitation. Let's talk about this. We're going to break this down by the day here so you can kind of see what's going on in your neighborhood across the area. So we just looked at the weekend, so we know what we're expecting there. So let's take this on out toward Monday afternoon. So we're looking at Monday afternoon here, about right there. Looking pretty quiet, except for obviously still unsettled out here on the West Coast. We do have some cold air coming in here across the high plains, coming in across here through areas of the Dakotas and into Minnesota. But again, most of the airports right there on your Monday looking pretty clear. Should not have any problems there. Let's go into your Tuesday. We'll track this into your Tuesday afternoon. Same thing. A little bit of rain here coming into Tuesday up here toward Maine and up toward Vermont and New Hampshire. A little unsettled here across areas of Utah, maybe Salt Lake City, getting a little snow there going into the Rockies. But again, most of the major airports, Chicago, look at Atlanta, Newark, and heading into JFK, New York, not looking bad. Dallas, all looking pretty good as far as those airport travels there on Tuesday the 26th. Now, Wednesday, of course, is the busiest travel day. This is Wednesday morning you're looking at right there, not looking bad. And we'll bring this forward here as we go throughout the day on Wednesday. We'll stop right there. So Wednesday, not looking bad, except for maybe Denver. Denver may be looking a little snow in there late in the day on Wednesday, but does not appear to be too bad. They can handle that out there as long as it doesn't become a major snowstorm, and we're not seeing that. And maybe some light precipitation here in southern Illinois. But otherwise, Wednesday's not looking bad. But as we go into Thursday, as we go throughout the day on Thursday, we start to see that system pull off toward the west. So Thursday morning, we start seeing the rains here across the Ohio River Valley, coming into the southeast, maybe getting some rains, maybe a rumble of thunder getting into areas down toward Atlanta, Hartsville, Jackson. Thus, the maybe potential weather delay there, maybe. Doesn't look overly strong, but again, you get some rains into the area, maybe some low visibility, stuff like that. It could cause some problems. So this is looks like a wet and rainy day throughout the day on Thursday, basically stretching from the mid-Atlantic, starting to sneak up into the northeast here and into the southeast here as we go in throughout Thanksgiving Day. Again, we're watching that cold air still kind of filtering in there the high plains. Now, as we go ahead and go forward again, going into Friday, we start to see the system move up into the northeast. So looks like it should stay warm enough for where the coastal areas will just stay plain old rain, but the interior sections may get a little bit of snow on the interior sections where it's a little bit colder, but this starts to pull on off to the north, and definitely seeing some very cold air. You notice this is 498 here. That's a very low height. Thus, that translates to very cold Arctic air that's going to start to infringe into parts of the high plains as we go into the 30th and into the 1st. So this starts to move on in. But notice as we go into Sunday, obviously a lot of folks flying home on Sunday after a long Thanksgiving week. It's cold across the northern tier for sure, but no major storm systems here. We got a little bit of rain down here Sunday afternoon here come across Oklahoma and into the south. But again, not bad. Nothing that's going to be causing any real headaches for travelers here as we look at this is late in the day on Sunday. Just some wet weather here across portions of Arkansas and in Louisiana. Okay, that's this zone right in here. As that cold or low really kind of dives in here. Boy, it's really, really frigid there across Minnesota and into Wisconsin as we go into December the 1st and going into the 2nd. So this moves across the southeast as we go throughout the day. Sunday night into Monday into the southeast as that cold air really kind of dives in there. And boy, you see that 540 line way far south here as we go toward Tuesday morning. Now, we're talking very frigid temperatures here all the way to the Gulf Coast, almost to the Gulf Coast here. What that's going to mean is we're probably going to see some 20s in the interior sections of the southeast, probably getting down near freezing down to the Gulf Coast, like the Florida Panhandle. And these areas here across portions of Ohio and into Pennsylvania, they could be looking at low teens, that's for sure. It's going to be quite cold going in toward Tuesday, December the 3rd. And then that slowly but surely this begins to erode away. We got one more quick shot coming here on the 6th. There's a little shot there across the northeast going in toward December 7th, and then it pulls on out. A lot of the country, though, starts to see things begin to moderate a bit, but no major storm systems over the next 10 to 14 days. I'm not seeing anything out there that's going to cause any big major problems out there. Now, as far as the precipitation is concerned, we'll take this out to 240. I like to go out about 10 days when it comes to precipitation. Overall, really not that bad. I don't see anything bad. We're definitely backing off that heavy rains out here on the west coast. That's for sure. You see some decent rains, maybe an inch or two here across portions of the south. But a lot of the interior sections of the country, you see that green, we're talking about a half inch or less. Not really seeing any major chances of rain, and that's over 10 days. So relatively dry there across the central of the country because we're just not seeing any major storm systems there. Of course, that means we're going to see lesser on the snow total on that. Do notice this, though, as we might see a little bit of snow getting in the areas in the south. Nothing that I think will accumulate, maybe some snow showers, snow flurries, but you notice there, area there, northern Arkansas with the mountains, the Ozarks there, maybe a little snow up there, a little bit of mountains there, but otherwise, maybe some light snows there. It looks like some decent snows here across portions of Colorado. That'll be coming in with that storm system going Wednesday and exiting out on Thursday with that. And of course, New England, if that low gets fired up there later in the week, may dump some pretty decent snows for the interiors there as well. So that's your snow totals here for the next 10 days. Now, as far as where this cold air is coming from, all this is coming up out of Canada. Okay, this is the kind of the look over the pole here. And one thing you're going to notice for sure is you notice that we've got this is all below zero. All this kind of grayish hue in here. This is below normal, below zero temperatures, and we're going to get some of this to come on down here into the continental United States as we go in toward the 1st and 2nd of December. So I'm going to take this all the way out here, kind of watch as that cold air really propagates further and further south as we go throughout the week here. So as this goes forward here, you definitely notice it getting colder and colder, and here comes that cold air heading toward the 29th. You see it kind of just sticking its tongue there across areas of North Dakota, and that really comes in heading toward Monday, December the 2nd. You see how far south that cold air gets here. We're seeing below zero temperatures there getting into Minnesota, parts of Wisconsin, maybe Iowa, getting quite nippy in there as we go through the next 7-8 days or so, going into Monday the following week, 9 days out. So as this goes on out through, we're going to see that cold air. Look, it goes all the way to the Gulf Coast. We're looking very frigid here with that purple. That's your 20-degree temperatures there, getting all the way down pretty far south going into Tuesday. But then it starts to modify. We start to get one more cold shot air. And as we go on out here to the 6th and 7th, the country starts to recover. We start to see milder temperatures, to say the least. Look at your daytime highs. You see those the areas there into the south, like Texas. You start to see the yellow start showing back up. The country starts to modify as that cold air will continue to recharge. Now, one thing I will say over the next 2-week period is the cold air really starts to recharge up here in Siberia and really starts to stay fairly full across the North Pole and up there toward the northern sections of Canada. So we're going to continue to have these shots throughout, we go throughout the month of December for some additional cold air to come on down here later in the month. Looking at temperature anomalies here, again, we're looking at below normal temperatures here across the southeast, obviously here through the weekend. As we go through Sunday and into Monday, the east begins to warm up a little bit, but then that cold air, that next little shot coming in, where that next system comes in here as we go toward Thanksgiving. So there's Wednesday, not looking too bad. A little bit cooling off a little bit there across the areas there across the Ohio River Valley in the southeast, a little milder out here, a little bit below normal here across the Pacific Northwest as we head toward your Wednesday. But the real cold shot really comes in behind this system on Thursday. So you're noticing the cold air really start to make its presence felt as it starts to come on down here behind that next storm system going throughout the day on Thursday. It really starts to push off toward the east, and boy, does it really drop off. Notice by Friday afternoon, majority of the country this week is looking at temperatures below normal here. That's for sure. And then this purple area, that's your sub-freezing weather up there with temperatures below zero. That'll be making its presence felt at that time coming in toward the 30th. And then this goes forward again through the whole next weekend. Most of the country is going to stay below normal. We're going to see it start to moderate a little bit out toward the west. But as we head towards Monday on December the 2nd, again, very, very cold here across the high plains, coming back into parts of the Midwest. It's cold into the southeast as well. And as we go ahead and pull this through into the morning of the 2nd, it's going to be quite cold here across the southeast, across the eastern third of the United States. Begin to moderate, though. Things begin to warm up out here in the west as that cold air begins to shift off toward the east. And then this will basically slowly but surely push further and further and further east. And notice this, by the time we head toward the end of this run, the only place we're holding on to the cold air is across the eastern third of the United States. And we're seeing temperatures moderate with above normal temperatures. Again, not warm, but above where they're supposed to be for early December as we wrap up this model run, taking us into the first week of December. So let's look at the latest from the Climate Prediction Center. We just looked at all that model data, and this is what they're showing. Obviously, this is lining up pretty good. November 28th through December 2nd, below normal temperatures for most of the country, or near normal, just a couple of little warm spots there across South Florida, maybe down toward Arizona and New Mexico. As we look at days 8 through 14, notice we're beginning to warm things up here a little bit toward the west, and this will continue to add on. As we add a day onto this, this is going to warm up, still holding on to the cold air across the eastern third of the United States. So what we're seeing from the Climate Prediction Center and what we're looking at in the models, they seem to line up pretty decently here. Precipitation staying active here. Definitely going to start to dry out here in the west. This is good news. They need this out here, especially out in California and areas that have been slammed with the flooding rains out there. They're going to get some time to kind of recharge here a little bit, allow that water to settle on down. And that trend continues right into December the 6th. A little bit dry here across the northeast and into the central portion of the country. And then maybe activity starts to pick up here across the areas of Montana and going up to the Dakotas as we wrap up this, looking out toward December the 6th. So it looks like for you travelers out there, the good news is we're seeing some pretty good travel conditions out there for you guys. Not looking too bad. Again, I'm still a little concerned about that system going on Thursday into Friday. That storm could get wound up pretty good. Could become an issue maybe later in the week for the Northeast. We'll have to watch that closely. It could become a decent nor'easter potentially, but the system will cause some rainy weather across the southeast mid-Atlantic heading into your Thanksgiving Day. All right, that's y'all's update for now, and if you guys appreciate this report and would you like to make this part of your regular YouTube feed, all you gotta do is please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're alerted on future content when I post it. And as always, if you appreciate this report, please leave a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. It's really great to see the channel growing, moving in the right direction. We're not going to get it all at once, but we're going to build it one day at a time. All right, guys, that's it for now. You guys take it easy. Be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.